Hi, my name is Dr. Erin Daniel with rejuvenate-life.com. It's important what you do with your dash. Today I want to talk about stress. Who wants to talk about stress? Nobody wants to talk about stress, but it's everywhere, right? We have physical, chemical, or emotional stressors. Okay, so that's what could inflict stress on us. Now, the weird thing about stress is that what is stressful to one person might not be to another. So let's say most of us would refer to these people as people with thin skin. I tend to be a more thin-skinned person, whether I show it or not. And so this would be other people saying something to us negatively. We would really take that to heart. We'd really feel it. Empaths tend to get this a little bit more. Then you'd have people that somebody can say something to them and they're like, give them the middle finger. I don't give a flying, right? And they literally don't care. Okay. And so there's positive things and negative things about both extremes. For somebody who just doesn't give a, they really don't care. They might not care if they're hurting their partner. They might not care if what they're saying is affecting somebody else, okay? Or they don't care about how they do it, right? There's a way to tell somebody the truth without giving it to them good, right? Then the other extreme, not caring just what any random person thinks of you. We cannot please everybody. There's no way. We're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect. It's impossible to be perfect. Yet, if we try to please everybody, we're not even going to please ourselves. We please no one then. So, people pleaser, recovering people pleaser. I work on this one. Okay. So, it happens, right? Life happens. So, again, different people respond to stressors differently. So for some people, a negative comment could totally ruin their whole day. It's hard for them to snap out of it. They might try different techniques, to think about something different, etc., but it still affects them. That's a stressor. So how do we eliminate people thinking negatively about us? Probably never going to happen. Somebody is always going to object to what we're doing. If people are chronically doing this to us, we can talk about it, use our words, be vulnerable. I know it's scary. And actually start a dialogue and say, hey, this really upsets me and it hurts me when you say these kinds of things because I take it, I'm taking it personally. Is there, are you meaning it this way, right? We can approach a subject in a different way. Then we also can have, different ways of other stressors like physical stress. Physical stress on our body, like sitting all day, being at the computer, things that are repetitive, physical abuse, our sports, over-exercising, not exercising enough, any number of things, truck driving, people who plow snow and are constantly looking backwards, farmers, the machinery, a whole bunch of different physical stressors that can be on our bodies. We can try to decrease the number of stressors. We can put positive habits to kind of counteract some of those things. But really, we really only have a couple choices. Change how we respond, which physically, if we're on a truck all day, can't really change that, but you could break up, how many hours you're doing something at a time, how much stretching you're doing, how much foam rolling, how much dry needling, chiropractic, right? There's some things we could do to counteract things that are kind of not in our control, right? Especially if it's how we make our money. And then there's also chemical stressors. So these would be things like pollutants of, air, land, or sea, right? Smog, all the chemicals that get sprayed, stuff, especially, Wisconsin, Green Bay area, we have a lot of paper mills. So there's a lot of stuff floating through because of the paper byproducts and all of that and get released. PCBs in our lake systems, etc., that people were, trying to drudge and clean up. Things that we put onto or into our bodies that are non-nutrients, that would be chemical stress. So if we've got chemical lotions and potions and whatever that are endocrine disruptors, that just are chemical in general, our body doesn't want to process those or it overtaxes the system. Things like flame retardants, asbestos, lead paint, a lot of these different types of things that we've heard of, if there's usually a lawsuit on it, may be questionable. That's even in like talc powder or baby powder or things like that. So things you hear commercials for, it might not be too safe. So physical, chemical, or emotional stressors, how we deal with these. So everybody deals differently. We have to look at the individual and see what is most stressful for us as individual people and go from there. So for me, I have to eliminate toxic people from my life. So people who are overtly negative, people who are always making comments, and I've asked them, hey, like, can we, not make sneery faces at me all day long just because you don't like a decision that I made? Like, keep your judgment to yourself. Or I have to go, I don't care about your opinion, okay? You can insert an expletive there if you want to, if that makes you feel better. Limiting the amount of time that you spend with toxic people, creating a healthier circle of friends, people who are more optimistic, who are more encouraging, who are striving for their goals. Okay, so we can change some of those things. We can't change who our parents are. Sorry, we can't change our kids. I mean, we can try to develop and shape them and encourage them and all of that, but this is where we are in our in our family units. But we can also go, hey, that is them. Their comments, that is something unhealed in them. It doesn't need to affect me. So this is what I think about a lot. Like when I just go, certain people, it's easy for me. Like I can shrug off what they say, no big deal. Other people, how shall I say, I know they're going to be negative. I'm still learning on not sharing something with them when I know it's just going to be negative. So that's one thing, right? Be vulnerable with the people who, and practice vulnerability with people who it's a good to be vulnerable with. Other stressors, like I said, we can eliminate some of those chemicals. We can do things more organic, no pesticides and herbicides. We can look no antibiotic meat, grass-fed beef, pastured beef and eggs, chicken, turkey, whatever your meat of choice. Lots of different things that we can do, but what stressors are affecting each individual most prominently? In my line of work, and this is just being quite frank, a lot of people's jobs, sitting or truck driving or that kind of thing, hugely affecting on their body physically. But when things don't clear out, if they're doing their stretches and their activities and other things, it's usually emotional. There's usually another emotional stressor that's sitting there. So don't negate those emotional stressors. But I have different programs that I have a 12-week journey to restore health, rejuvenate life and live life again, right? So I have got different programs, nutrition programs. I have a free 5-day health challenge. So if you're watching my vlog or my YouTube channel or wherever I've decided to post this, just keep in mind there are solutions. I do one-on-one coaching where we look, how are your stressors affecting you? How do we deal with this? How can we do this? How do we get back to health? And then how do we live vibrantly after that? So I have another vlog post or what have you on my ranch approach to Healthy for Life. So that's a great one to watch. Again, I'm Dr. Erin Danielle. I hope you have a fabulous day. Rejuvenate-life.com. It's important what you do with your dash.